up? Truth and transparency. It's a Friday. Hope you guys are doing good. Friday for me, Friday for you. Might be later, maybe earlier. West Coast, East Coast, different country. I'm here for it. Johnny Lunch Bucket's here for it. I swear he just comes in just to say, hey, gang, and then takes his big ass beard and gets out of here. He's got that Idaho beard. So come on, get in here. I'm gonna let those notifications click, click, click. Welcome to my click. Again, good morning, everybody. What is up? Big day today. I got this presentation for you guys. But then after this, I got the Karen Reed huge motion. So if you guys are Karen Reed trial watchers, you definitely want to check that out. What else I got going on? I'm throwing a huge... Oh, I got Kevin Clapp later. Hopefully he makes it clap for you guys. The beard is gone. Thank God. I mean, how do you keep that thing clean? I always wondered that. So again, come on in here. Make yourself known. Where are you from? You guys got interested in the Idaho4 case for a reason. And I think it's because it just doesn't make sense, you know? That's what drew me in. Is like, I was like, this is isolated targeted attack, and yet we don't have... And then you arrest Bryan Kohberger, who is definitely not isolated and targeting those people because you think he's going to be a serial killer, or you thought he already was a serial killer and this has been another one of his killings. So again, make yourself known. We got some is that New Jersey? Ohio? No way. Ohio's where it's at. Very hot summer. Kentucky? Okay. Oh, okay. California love. Oh my God, it's early there for you guys. What, 8 o'clock in the morning? Getting up, getting ready for work. Whoo. Arkansas, okay. Arkansas, what Kansas couldn't, right? Something like that. Florida. Oh, it's very humid there too. I used to live in Key West, so I feel ya. UK, South Carolina, Texas. I want to hit them all. Virginia. Oh, God, no way. We got some Nampa in here? No way. You guys are going to be hosting the trial, I think. That's what, Boise, right? Texas. Okay. Oh, Connecticut? No way. Everybody. Oh, we got some Canadian folks in here. Yes. Vegas? I doubt it. Who lives in Vegas? Everyone just goes to party there. Chelsea. All right. You need to go look for that Sheath over there. That's what I think. Hayden, get out. Johnny, go back to bed. Johnny, just get out of here. Sweden, okay. What time is it there? Just curious. Montana. That's, I think, our first Montana there. Illinois. Anybody else? I'm trying to hit all 50 states. Mexico, okay. All right, Juan, I see you. All right. Stephenville. Okay. Utah. First Utah that I've seen pop up. Anybody else? Seattle, Washington, Oklahoma. I really wanted to hit all 50. Oh, okay. Anybody got, let's see. We got some Louisianas in here. How about like any New York? Any New York people? 40 minutes from the Quip. Okay. Missouri. Dang, I felt boring. North Carolina. Minnesota. You got that accent? I talked to a girl that lived in Minnesota. Oh, Indiana. Okay. All right, good. We got to get some South Dakota, North Dakota. Anybody? Iowa? Arizona? Did we say Arizona? New Mexico? Michigan. Don't even say that word around me. Jackson, Mississippi. Okay. Minnesota. Sweetness. All right, let's jump into it. Perfect. Oh, Iowa. Any Wyoming? Oh, Ontario. There you go. Paid for college in North Carolina, Virginia, Tennessee. Oh, that counts. Then you're a resident. Resident status. Resident. The Bronx? Okay. What's up? Gangster. I love it. A Bronx Tale, one of my favorite movies. All right, good. All right, let's check it out. I made this video, if you guys saw it yesterday, but it was going to be used for my live today. The sheath, is it enough? You guys are the jury. So if you guys hear just the sheath and that there's touch DNA on it, how would you feel if it wasn't on body cam? How would you feel if it was on body cam? I later noticed. How would you feel if there was only like no blood on the sheath? What's up? So I want to go ahead and play this, and I'm going to be stopping it at points, but this video can be seen in its 12 minutes and 38 seconds in its entirety without my interruptions. It was dropped yesterday, so it says whatever it says. Check it out.
About why investigators have linked him to these murders. One, the biggest clue so far is a tan leather knife sheath that was found next to one of the victims. They found DNA on that knife sheath, and as they were investigating a 2015 white Hyundai Elantra, they linked it to Kohberger, and that's when they really started surveilling.
Okay, so right there, media says that as they were investigating a white Honda Elantra. Now, I have questions about that. Were they truly investigating this white Honda Elantra, or did that come after the fact? What came first? So media has it wrong here. They think that the Elantra came first. Media doesn't want to talk about the IGG. Remember, this is right in the beginning. All of these clips are right in the beginning. This is why we are having a hearing to change venue, because of all the false and misleading statements made by mainstream media repetitively. But I have to say that mainstream media went off of a piece. You know, they went off of that 19 pages probable cause. So again, is the sheath enough? This is what went far and wide in the beginning and then carried on. So again, it's touch DNA on the button part.
Different times that his cell phone pinged near that residence.
Imagine episode 1. We're starting to win. This is just so you guys know.
Some very interesting details about
Idaho
why investigators have linked him to these murders. One, the biggest clue so far is a tan leather knife sheath that was found next to one of the victims. They found DNA on that knife sheath, and as they were investigating a 2015 white Hyundai Elantra, they linked it to Kohberger, and that's when they really started surveilling him. They found some trash at his parents' house and they took some DNA from that, and that's how they were able to get a match to link him based upon the fact that cell phone records, the forensic evidence there, the several. They're saying that there were. Different times that his cell phone pinged.
Fuck, I was muted. Let me tell you. Okay, I got it. Thank you, guys. Let me tell you, I had to leave that in there because she kept stuttering. And because she wants to say there's all this evidence. There was not all this evidence. Again, here, really quick, right here.
At his parents' house and they took some DNA from that, and that's how they were able to get a match to link him based upon the fact that cell phone records, the forensic evidence there, the several. They're saying that there were 12 different.
What? You guys. Grasping over here.
Times that his cell phone pinged near that residence before the murders, and they say that that's usually an indication that someone is staking out a crime scene before they actually commit those murders. Vicki, Savannah?
Dana, these clues coming out of the affidavit showing why.
These clues. This is not Blue's Clues, man. These clues. The probable cause shouldn't be about clues. It should be about facts. Okay. I truly have no idea who people are hiring these days, but these clues, the probable cause affidavit should be about facts. It was not about facts. I mean, just unbelievable. Again, this is out the gate when Bryan Kohberger was being extradited. And then the probable cause affidavit was released. This is breaking news. Back 2023, beginning of January.
He was arrested. We know that he is going to make, or has made, his first court appearance back there in Idaho. Walk us through what happens next.
I was good on that. I'll walk us through what happened next.
Question. Have you read, seen, or heard if police...
Okay, then this would be now, how many months would go by? So that was January 2023. Now, this would be from a hearing in 2024, this past June, May, maybe April 2024. So a year and some change would pass on by. And now Bill Thompson, has the piece of paper, that's the prosecutor, he's got the piece of paper and he is upset. This man is pissed. Why would Bill Thompson be pissed? That they're doing a survey to see if they can get a free, or if they can get a fair trial or a free trial, a fair trial. But Bill Thompson, that's your prosecutor right there. He's wild, man. Listen to him.
Found a knife sheath on the bed next to one of the victims. Question. Have you read, seen, or heard that DNA found on the knife sheath was later matched to Bryan Kohberger?
The damage.
Why are you so upset about that question? Why are you so upset about that question? Why are you so upset about that question? I backed it up with putting this right before it for a reason. For a reason. Here you go.
Records, the forensic evidence there. The several they're saying that there were
Shit.
investigating a 2015 white Hyundai Elantra. They linked it to Kohberger, and that's when they really started surveilling him. They found some trash at his parents' house and they took some DNA from that, and that's how they were able to get a match to link him based upon the fact that cell phone records, the forensic evidence there, the several. They're saying that there were 12 different times that his cell phone pinged near that residence before the murders, and they say that that's usually an indication that someone is staking out a crime scene before.
Can you guys believe that if you ping on a cell tower 12 times in the 3-month period by where a crime was committed, you guys are then going to be you're a suspect. You are a damn suspect. I mean, it's wow. And then, so here's Santa.
Question. Have you read, seen, or heard if police found a knife sheath on the bed next to one of the victims?
What?
Question. Have you read, seen, or heard that DNA found on the knife sheath was later matched to Bryan Kohberger?
The damage has been done.
The damage has been, you're damn right the damage has been done. And this is why this needs to move up out of Latah County. You're right, the damage has been done. This is insanity that a man would get up as a prosecutor and talk about this crazy shit when it's exactly what has happened. Have you read, seen, or heard? Every single day we read, seen, or heard that. Every single day. 98% of Latah County knows this case. 81% of Latah County says that he's guilty without even having a trial. How can you get a fair trial in Latah County? You can't. And if you believe in our justice system, if you believe in our rights, okay, our constitutional rights as human beings to live in this country, then you cannot argue the fact that this needs to move. And if you argue the fact that this needs to move, then you can fucking move. Move. Because you are a living, lying piece of shit. Okay, you're a hypocritical fuck. Yes, I said I have no problem saying it.
Been working very, very hard to keep the sort of noise out of the case. And now it's been injected, at least to these 400 people.
Nobody's injecting anything into the case.
Fuck
A
yeah,
random
man.
small percentage of the population is contacted. Have you read, seen, or heard things that are lifted straight out of the media?
Yes. Yes, Anne. And this is the facts. You want the facts? Come
Today,
here.
He's charged in the stabbing deaths of 4 University of Idaho students last November. The defense today questioned the validity of the DNA found in the knife sheath allegedly connecting Kohberger to the murders. They are demanding more information about that DNA from the prosecutors.
They have provided full discovery for the sheath, the DNA found on the knife sheath, but not the other 3 unidentified male DNA samples.
Prosecutors say they've handed over what they have.
We have given the defense everything that we received from the lab. They've asked.
We've given them everything that we received from the lab. Okay. But you can't give them what you didn't go and get, right, Bill? Right. Okay. So for me, guys, what's going to be the most important thing about the homicides, as far as I'm concerned from a defense standpoint, with the sheath, is that are there wounds that are not consistent with being done by this 7-inch knife? If there are wounds that are not consistent with a 7-inch knife, the prosecution is going to have hella problems. Okay. And that's what I believe the defense needs to focus on, because if you didn't go and get these other 3 unknown DNAs, male DNAs, or try to run some profiles on them after the medical examiner would have said to you in any way, shape, or form, if it was ever communicated that, hey, the weapon that you're looking for, yeah, it's definitely like a sharp edge knife, whatever, but I'm not sold that it was only one this weapon based on the wounds. And you know who we have to thank for that is none other than Steve Gonsalves himself, to say that the points of damage do not match. The points of damage do not match. Where did Steve get this from? You think Steve just going to come out and say that? Why? At that point, why? When Steve Gonsalves made those statements, I don't think he had any reason to just make those statements for whatever reason. Maybe after the fact that all this, year and a half goes by and like your brain is mush and you're just like, you've heard so much crap. But the points of damage do not match. Okay. It's interesting. And so if the knife sheath, or obviously the knife sheath didn't commit murder, but if this one weapon is not consistent with all the wounds, then you're looking at more than one perpetrator, more than likely, right? And that's going to be your best route, I believe, as the defense. As the prosecution, you want to keep it that it was this single knife and that it was just him. But we were never told where these 3 unknown male DNAs are, but we do know that based upon what Ann Taylor is saying, that they are within the vicinity of these victims. So, but I told you I would give it to you from both sides, which is, if you're the defense, you want to go the route that there is multiple weapons. If you're the prosecution, you want to stick it that is just this single knife that is a K-bar knife.
For DNA workups on other people, to the extent that they don't have them, they weren't done. We can't produce something that doesn't exist.
Police arrested Kohberger at his family's Pennsylvania home back in December, more than 6 weeks after the gruesome.
Okay, now and then we have to talk about why they let Kohberger go across the country, right? When I say like let them go or let him go, I say them because his dad was with him. You're going to sit here and tell me that they didn't know that his dad had flown in? You're going to sit here and tell me that? Let me just put it to you this way. If they did not know that his dad was in town and flew in, then they are fucking dog shit. That is so unbelievable that you wouldn't know that shit. Okay? You have 120 motherfuckers on this case. Payne got up there and said, I don't even know the people that were working with me, all these feds.
Some murders set off panic on the Idaho College campus. His attorneys argue he's innocent and was out driving alone at the time of the murders.
Is that a strong alibi?
No, it is not.
Criminal defense attorney Joe Tam.
Sometimes I like to say to myself, why would Bryan Kohberger ever say this? Why would anybody want to say, God, like, I was out driving alone at the time, versus I was at home. I was sleeping. Okay. Because it's normal for people to be sleeping at 3 a.m. Maybe because it's just the truth. Okay. And if you can show a pattern of Bryan Kohberger or anybody for that matter doing the same thing that they were doing back a month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, then that becomes more believable for me if I'm on the jury, is that you're showing me a pattern of somebody, right? And now if you don't show me that this man ever was out driving at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then you want me to believe that he was out driving at 3 o'clock in the morning on this random night, it's not going to be as believable, right? And so for if I was a juror, and I want to know how you guys would feel if you were jurors, does that pattern, that history of how much weight do you put into that? Especially then, okay, hey, I was out driving and now I'm going to have somebody come forward. And what's interesting is I pause it because I want you to hear what this defense attorney is about to say, because I think it's hilarious what this guy's about to say. That's not a good alibi. The truth isn't a good alibi. Okay. Well, fuck all that. What if we have somebody that's going to come through and say, here, look it. I have data. I have location data that shows I wasn't anywhere near there, but I was definitely out driving, but I wasn't over there. In fact, I was in a different state. And so I just think they get these people up here that, do you think that this guy do you think he knows anything about the case? He doesn't. You think that a lawyer who has all these clients and is busy sits around and doesn't get paid to know everything about this case before he gets on here and talks about it? No. But what's really disappointing is that defense attorneys or even prosecutors to talk about cell phones and data, and that it's not, that's not a good alibi. Well, it's good enough to do what? Arrest me and convict me, motherfucker. So it's not good enough to exonerate me. Fuck all you fucks that say that. That's hypocrisy to the finest. And I can't even believe that people would breathe and even make that stupidity. Like, that's just stupid. So if I'm on the jury, I'm going to go back to the deliberating room and I'm going to say, wait a second, guys, this is good enough to arrest him. Good enough to, you guys want us to convict him off of it, but it's not good enough for us to exonerate him? Come on. If the data shows that, even against the knife sheath and how it could have touch DNA. And is it reliable? When nothing else is pointing to Bryan Kohberger except for the sheath, I think that there's problems then, right? And somebody said it earlier, it creates more problems and questions than it does answers. But here you go.
Barino, who is not part of this case, says it's a weak argument.
But an alibi defense is not, I simply wasn't there at the time. It's you must provide specifically where you were, time, place. Also, if you have any witnesses.
The defense had also been trying to delay the trial. Just moments ago, the judge ruled the trial will continue.
Do you hear this shit right here? The defense trying to delay. What? What? Where are you getting this from? This is the shit we get to watch every single day. CBS, ABC. These are the type of people that watch this stuff. They don't watch me. They don't watch people on YouTube that are going to be on the jury. They watch this shit. They would have seen this stuff.
Continue as scheduled in October. The victim's family.
That's when it was supposed to be an October trial, because they were getting it in before, because he didn't want to waive his right to a speedy trial.
Families were inside the courtroom and said they are optimistic.
Next up here.
Killings. New documents just unsealed show that prosecutors say DNA left on a knife sheath was used to link Bryan Kohberger to the murders. And one of the surviving roommates came face to face.
Absolutely. He said it right there. DNA left on the sheath links Bryan Kohberger to the murders, but he doesn't tell us how that came about. So I'm going to make sure everybody understands how that came about. The FBI went against protocol, went against the DOJ's interim policy, and they put the knife sheath's DNA into a database and compared it to all kits, even if they opted out of law enforcement. They used the loophole to put this into all databases that even if you used whatever service and you said, I'm opting out of law enforcement, they used the loophole. That's why there's not going to be any receipts that the FBI paid for a goddamn thing, because they put Bryan Kohberger's shit in as not a law enforcement kit. Okay. When that happened, it then triggered this tree. Experts testified, though, on the part of the defense to say that it's not just going to spit out one person. Okay, your tree is going to lead you in multiple directions, because it's all about your DNA having a higher number of hits with this person, that person. That's how that happens. So what mainstream media leaves out is how Bryan Kohberger's name ever came to truly surface. It was not because of a white Hyundai Elantra. It was because of the FBI putting in the Sheath's DNA STR kit into a database with all other kits, even if they opted out of law enforcement, because they went through the loophole. The FBI is to pay, okay, think about this. The FBI has to pay to put stuff in, and there's a paper trail of that. They did not do that. Okay, now, why this would matter to me as a juror is the FBI does not give a fuck. They will do whatever, right? So when it comes then to this cast report, FBI cast report, when it comes out that the FBI cast report, they didn't do what they were supposed to do. Instead, they just made up data and made up that, yep, it's consistent with this. Well, we'll just leave out this data portion, and we'll jump to their next point, which is here. And then it will still continue to be in this little loop-de-loop area that you can at least say it. But we're leaving out important pieces of the data of the drive test, because then it would fuck your report and how you were able to get search warrants. Okay. But so if we just leave out these little snippets, then we can say that it's in this range and it's consistent with this. And so when you guys will hear that the FBI is going to have to testify that they manipulated the cast and left out data chunks, then how confident are you going to be in the fact that the only piece of evidence that links Bryan Kohberger truly to this case is what the FBI did with the sheath? And that is the case, ladies and gentlemen. So this is what you would deem as being the number one piece, the sheath, to Bryan Kohberger. This is why the defense is saying, no, we're going to use the sheath. We're going to use all of this. The prosecution's over here saying, we're not even going to use any of that. We're not going to use any of that. Well, wouldn't you ask yourself why? If this is truly the only thing that you have that links Bryan Kohberger to this case, then it becomes, was this placed? Was this planted? Because that's all you have. So is this sheath more helpful in terms of if you're portraying to explain to a jury? I don't give a fuck what y'all think in the media. I care about what 12 people are going to see, the evidence that they are going to see. And if Bryan Kohberger did it, you should see not just one out of place, questionable, okay, this sheath, wow. But everything else, nothing else goes back to him. Do you want to suppress that? Do you want to suppress that evidence? It's kind of like in the Karen Reed case. Do you want to suppress things, or do you want the jury to see for themselves, like, wait a second, how, like, if we don't get to see that, then we're not going to see that it was planted. So the defense has a lot of decisions to make. So does the prosecution have a lot of decisions to make. But when you want to show doubt upon an investigation,
with him that night.
You want to show it multiple times. You don't want to just show a little bit of doubt, like, and where they messed up. You want to keep showing a repeat pattern and who is responsible for this repeat pattern. And that would be poor leadership and then poor execution. And that's where it's going to be on MPD. And MPD did nothing to hold the FBI accountable, or ask questions on this, that, or the other. Now, from the prosecution standpoint, they said they're not going to use any of this. They have no problem not even using the sheath. Well, then what the fuck are you going to use? Well, we have the DNA. We swabbed him after we arrested him. After we arrested him, we got his DNA, and then it matched to the sample that we put in CODIS. Okay, but were you going to say that you got that from what? Him leaving the sheath, right? But the only way that you ever got the name Bryan Kohberger to even be on that path was how? IGG. So I don't leave any of it out if I'm the defense. I don't suppress shit because I need to show them how they think that they got to Bryan Kohberger. Okay, and that they were so it'll be interesting. But these are decisions. These are decisions that the defense has to make. These are decisions that the prosecution has to make. But is the sheath enough? Everybody thinks that it's just like, yeah, his DNA's on it. What the fuck do you mean? It's the knife that killed people, right? Well, that's why I think it's important to go route of that. There's multiple, that these wounds are consistent with way different lengths of a weapon. And that they did nothing to even okay, let's go get those other DNAs. Let's go get those other, why didn't they do trees on those ones? I leave it all there and I just showed that this was they were only concerned with the sheath touch DNA. Knowing that touch DNA is just so it's unreliable that they didn't even bother to go and find out who these other DNAs were. That's how I would go. Especially when they didn't have anything to go off of at the beginning. Again, it's good. This case to me is about law. It's about our rights, and it's also about how the prosecution would go after something, how the defense would go after something. Because I don't even know. I have no idea if Bryan Kohberger is innocent or guilty. I have no idea, but I feel like people are lying. I feel like people are lying that are in positions that they should not be lying. And that's what I have a problem about. I should be able to trust the people that are supposed to be protecting and serving us. I should not even think for a second that you guys would be doing some whacked out shit. Okay? And no, you can't go railroading people. And so, I don't know. It's just unfortunate, but this is the sheath. This is what it is, and what's going to come about it.
Chris Glorioso has been looking at it. He's in the newsroom with details. Chris?
David, police believe Bryan Kohberger was a sophisticated killer using his advanced knowledge of criminology to try and outsmart investigators.
Okay, I have to stop right there. I put this out here for a reason. Sophisticated, He left a knife sheath, motherfuckers. How sophisticated can you be? Who leaves a knife sheath at a crime scene? How does that happen? And then you realize that you left it because you know that you just don't have it to discard it, right? You got to know that and then get your happy ass the fuck back in that house and go get it, right? Everyone's dead, or you would think everyone's dead, because there's no way I would ever think that I would leave witnesses to call 911 on my ass. Oh, I just walked right past Dylan and just said, yeah, what's up, girl? You see me? I got this mask on, though. I'm going to let you out because I'm tired. No, I would just got to slit her throat and she's done. I'm going to stab her. tired my ass. You're going to be running off so much adrenaline. So people are going to say, oh, he didn't kill Dylan because he was tired. Oh my God. You know how many boys are tired having sex after 1 minute? They try to get back at it. Get out of here, man.
But the court documents released today say he made a monumental blunder, leaving that knife sheath next to one of the victims. Police say forensics on that sheath, combined with cell phone and vehicle records, all point to Kohberger as the killer.
I am going to leave the bail set of this case as no bail.
28-year-old PhD student Bryan Kohberger will have to fight his murder case from behind bars for now. At his first court appearance, Idaho prosecutors argued he was a flight risk because police found him 3,000 miles away from the murder scene at his parents' home.
He's a flight risk because he went home for Christmas break. Would you want Bryan Kohberger in your daughter's bedroom at 3 a.m.? I wouldn't want anybody in my daughter's bedroom at 3 a.m. Answered. Moving on. How do you even make this argument that he fled? He's a flight risk for going on Christmas break with his daddy. His dad. Y'all are going to have bad karma wishing a murderer free. What do you think? Bad karma. This is about our rights. I don't know if Bryan Kohberger is innocent or guilty, but I can tell you this. I would be way better at my job, then this wouldn't even be a fucking issue, Trent. Have a good day. So if you're not about our rights, okay, then there's no reason for you to ever be at my channel, okay? Because if he is so guilty, I'm telling you, just do your damn job and you will get him. You don't need, this is not, thank you, Jack. This is not about Bryan Kohberger. This is about the feds. This is about the police. This is about them doing whatever the fuck they want to us when they get tunnel vision or even when someone's guilty. Okay? That's like playing a game and you can win by 5 or I could cheat and win by 30. Well, why don't you just play fair? Because everybody thinks it's a game. Everyone's always talking about their wins and losses. I got my conviction rate, my this, my that. Right here. That's what I think. All right? If you're so fucking good, do your fucking job. And the parents, you can't sit here and tell me as a parent you wouldn't want the truth as to why the fuck this happened. All right? Bryan Kohberger drives across country. He's not one of us and just stabs everybody. I mean, that's just such an easier sell than, oh, he went to the university and he was in a frat. Okay. And then you have a, oh my goodness, you have a president that's going to write a book. Who do you think you are? I would have walked my happy ass into his office and said, who the fuck do you think you are? Who do you think you are? Writing a book. We haven't even had trial. We haven't even had freaking, we don't even know if it's going to be here. They're having a change of venue and you're writing a book and a manifesto to how do you handle a situation. Ooh, boy. I'm going to tell you about how are you going to handle that lawsuit? All right.
In Pennsylvania, it turns out that house is where critical DNA evidence was harvested from the trash.
Harvested.
According to
where do they who writes this shit for them? I want to know who writes this shit. Because hey, anybody likes to write books, come write my little blogs, okay? Harvested, where he harvested all this DNA. Harvested. The fuck are you talking about? It's garbage. Harvested. It's put out of the curb. Harvested. Get out of here, man. Get out of your mind. I'm sorry, but this shit, it's damn. Harvested. Same mainstream media that wouldn't put out the body cams that I went and got. Yeah.
This unsealed affidavit of probable cause. First, an Idaho lab located a single source of male DNA left on the button snap of a knife sheath next to one of the stabbing victims.
Now, we're going to talk about this part. How hard do you go after the lab? Okay? If Bryan Kohberger was working in the Washington State lab, don't know if he was, but how hard do you go after the lab? Okay. For example, when working in the Brian Drake case, I noticed that when they ever sent stuff off to be examined, they didn't just work with one lab. They sent stuff to the Idaho State Police for ballistics, and they sent stuff to the Washington State University lab for ballistics, and to find out what type of gun caused this bullet to extract and go into Dr. Drake, right? Well, Washington State came back and said that it was too specific. You know, it was like a .38 special and a revolver. Well, guess what? Idaho State lab came back and said, you're leaving out a 9mm. You're leaving off the 9mm. And they added the 9mm. And so it's a 9mm, it's a .38 special, and it's a revolver. Okay. And it was a .38 caliber bullet. All right. And it had a twist right, whatever the wording. I'm just going off my memory here. But they used two separate labs. Now, the Idaho State lab later located a single source of male DNA. Obviously, the freaking scene processors didn't locate DNA, you know? But when they say the Idaho State later located, could that be, is that interesting wording to me? Like, what do you mean you later located? Did you process it more than once? Like the first time you processed the sheath, or what, you didn't see anything, and then you processed it again, and then you saw it? Because I don't know why the Idaho State lab, when they say later located, what the Idaho State lab located, why later located? Those are key words for me in doing now what I've begun to do and work hand in hand with people that are fucking phenomenal at their jobs. Like I've worked now in the past 2 years with some of the best experts like in the world. And they're choosing to work with me and ask me a ton of questions, or, hey, I want you to research this. Hey, like, I'm flattered by that. Like, but I'm learning because I want to learn. I don't want to stand up on here and be ignorant and just be spouting out. I'm understanding and learning how these motherfuckers are writing up these probable causes. Okay. You write up a probable cause to protect yourself as much as you are writing it to get whatever it is that you're trying to obtain. So when I saw this, the Idaho State lab later located, what the fuck? Did you run this twice? Because why wouldn't it just say the Idaho State lab located a single source of male DNA left on the button snap of the knife sheath? And I think that why do you think Ann Taylor wants all the records of the lab, all the communications, Rick Allen, you're absolutely right. Suggest they missed it the first time. Yes, exactly. And how did you miss it the first time? Oh, you didn't swab the button? Or did it look so pristine that you didn't even think to test it for DNA? So it was never tested at first. Could it be like that? Could it be something that the sheath looked so pristine, okay, that you didn't think like, well, let's run it for DNA? Like, I mean, there could be a ton of different reasons why, but I'm telling you, this language right here, I have a lot of questions about it. And I would ask that question. The Idaho State lab later located a single source of male DNA. What do you mean later located? You know? So
then Pennsylvania agents recovered that trash from Kohberger's family.
Now, I want to be very, very specific with this. I looked over these search warrants like you wouldn't believe, in the order that they were signed off on, because when you went and got your Pennsylvania warrant, when you went and got your Washington warrant, when you went and got your Idaho warrant, all right, we're dealing with 3 different jurisdictions, all right? We're dealing also with the FBI. We're dealing with Idaho State Police. We're dealing with Idaho, Moscow, Idaho local. Now we're dealing with Pennsylvania State Police. Now we're dealing with Monroe County's Sheriff's Department. Now we're dealing with, wait, you just said, Lana, you said Pennsylvania State Police? Yeah. Well, Lana, how do you think, what's your take on it? Have you ever worked with the Pennsylvania State Police? Oh my God. They're right next to Idaho, as far as I'm concerned. I've witnessed Pennsylvania State Police fabricate and purposely bury video in the Sheldon Jeter Jr. case. I said, how do I get back-to-back cases almost that deals with the Pennsylvania State Police? I about hit the floor. I said, holy shit. So I had to read this again, though. But thank God, Pennsylvania agents, it wasn't the Pennsylvania State Police that got the sheath that got the DNA. It was the Pennsylvania agents, the FBI, Pennsylvania agents. Pennsylvania State Police, they were running all surveillance, like the monitoring of everything. But who actually went and got that trash 100% was an FBI agent that is in PA. 100, because on the affidavit, the gentleman that wrote it up said Pennsylvania he was very adamant that the PSP was not involved in that. But you have to read it.
Residents, DNA.
So FBI. Why would the FBI be so involved on an isolated targeted attack that happened in Moscow, Idaho, right off the rip that you'd bring in 50 fucking agents? Woohoo! Why?
From the trash and DNA from the knife sheath identified a male who could not be excluded as the biological father of Kohberger. Kohberger's father is not accused of any crime. This is police body cam video showing both father and son pulled over for tailgating as they drove cross-country from Washington State to Pennsylvania about a month after the stabbings. Bryan Kohberger was arrested in his family's Pennsylvania home last week. The public defender who represented him said Kohberger planned to prove his innocence.
He believes he's going to be exonerated. That's what he believes. Those were his words.
Now, everybody says, Bryan Kohberger said, who else got arrested? You guys don't know. You guys do understand that is hearsay from fucking law enforcement. That's who told Brian Enton that. The only person that could have ever told that to Brian Enton, he doesn't need to come out and say it. He doesn't need to come out and say who his source was. The only person in the world, unless you are an invalid, okay, that would think that it is anybody other than law enforcement that said Bryan Kohberger said, who else got arrested? That came from a police officer. Now think about it. Why would a police officer ever leak this unless a police officer, like in the Delphi case? In the Delphi case, there was officers that no doubt thought that the murders of Abby and Libby was totally done by more than one perpetrator, without a doubt, because of the crime scene, because of all of the initial investigation, one or more than one killer, okay, to abduct them, blah, blah, blah. Now think about this. It would make total sense that somebody would release that information that thought that this was a killing that was done by more than one person. And they wanted to, have that like, yep, here. But think about that. Why would this person ever say that? Why would that be the leakage that would come out? Why not them just say Brian was like crying for his daddy, or you know what I mean? Just something. Okay. But the thing that was said was, who else was arrested? Who else was arrested? Think about that though. There's a reason that this person that was the source for Brian Enton to say this, that person in my opinion, without a doubt, believes that this was done by more than one motherfucking person. Because you would have leaked something else. You would have said that the guy said, you know, I didn't drive right. Good luck finding the knife. Something like that. Okay. But what this person that leaked this to Bryan Enton said, that I don't believe Kohberger ever said, but guess what? It matters on why this person said it. Why this person said that Kohberger said this. Okay. No doubt is it hearsay, right? But think about all the things that you could have leaked that Kohberger said. This is what you're going to say that he said. I don't believe that Kohberger said a damn thing. You want to know why? Because until Kohberger says it, okay, then I'll be like, yep, there you go. But think about it for 1 second and compare it to Delphi. And it's because this person felt so confident to say it because they thought it. Because law enforcement thought it. Because law enforcement thought it. And then we're going to go ahead and say that Kohberger did it. And we're going to sniff out these other motherfuckers, right? Right? Because otherwise you would say Kohberger said a million other things than that. And don't you think that by saying that that would keep panic, induced panic? Why would you ever want to keep panic in a situation that you're trying to like take panic away? Think about that. This whole thing was about to, in the beginning, hey, isolated targeted attack. Isolated targeted attack. Nope, we are safe. Everybody can come back to school. We got to arrest before the holidays is up. We need everybody to come back. But we're going to leak to the media that he said who else was arrested? Isn't that doing the opposite of what this whole thing was supposed to do, which was there is no panic here because there's nobody else. Like it's one person. This is not, nobody needs to think that someone's just going to come to your house and kill you while you're sleeping. Bryan or whoever we're about to arrest here, he targeted these people. He's been watching these people. He's been stalking these people. And then he killed these people. Well, then that's super, super interesting to me. The lengths that the university went through to make it that it was an isolated targeted attack as well as MPD, to then have this person be a source to Bryan Enton close to the investigation right before the gag order was placed on January 3rd to say Bryan Kohberger asked, who else did you arrest? And what that tells me, ladies and gentlemen, is even if Bryan Kohberger said that, there is no way in fucking hell that you would ever let that be leaked. Because what is it still continuing to do? Keep a community scared. And that's exactly what you don't want to have happen, right? So even if Bryan Kohberger said that, why in the world would you ever put that out there? And I'm going to tell you who would put it out there. Somebody that is pissed off that MPD went with Officer Payne as the lead and not them, or not somebody of their caliber who has been around, who earned that right to lead that investigation. It's going to be somebody internally that is pissed. And that's exactly what you see in this case. You see a lot of sabotage. That's Idaho.
To beat the case against him, Kohberger will have to explain not only the DNA on that knife sheath, but also...
Why does Kohberger have to explain the DNA on that knife sheath? What in the fuck are you in America and having a platform of your magnitude think that you can come out and tell us that a defendant ever has to explain something in a criminal case? The defendant doesn't have to ever explain a damn thing. It is on the prosecution, and it will always be on the prosecution to explain their case and why they arrested somebody and why this person is guilty. Bryan Kohberger is going to have to explain. How do these people have jobs?
DNA on that knife sheath, but also cell phone records cited in the affidavit. Before the 4 University of Idaho students were stabbed to death, police say Kohberger's phone pinged cell towers near the crime scene on at least a dozen occasions, suggesting he was scoping out his victims. They say his mobile phone did not communicate with nearby cell towers during the hours of the stabbings, but the affidavit suggests that is consistent with Kohberger attempting to conceal his location during the quadruple homicide. One of the most chilling passages of the affidavit unsealed today comes from one of the 2 surviving roommates in the apartment. She told investigators just after.
I am so glad that I did the episode that I did when I revealed that Dylan's room was located on the 2nd floor, was the bedroom that was across from Xana's on the opposite side, but next to the kitchen, next to the stairs. Provided hella documentation on why I believe that. Used a whiteboard, used a chronological timeline, and literally flat out hit a home run. Because not only was I correct, but law enforcement in the beginning told all of us that Dylan Mortensen and Bethany were downstairs. They were not witnesses, and they slept through the whole fucking thing. Now, they can lie to us. They can do whatever they want. They're allowed to lie to us. They can tell us whatever they want. The police can do whatever. That's what I found out in America. The police can do whatever. That is why we as United States citizens need to always keep our mouth shut and never speak to them unless we have a lawyer present. Period. Because they can do and say whatever, and then you immediately feel the need to, when they're trying to lie to you or say, you immediately feel the need to defend yourself. Okay? But I'm so glad that I did that video, and I got hella shit for that video. I didn't give a fuck, though. I knew that I was right. The evidence told me I was right. Here's the evidence. Here's the fucking, I can prove that was Dylan's room. Now, you're going to sit here and tell me that Dylan slept downstairs with Bethany? I want to know why. Why would Dylan sleep downstairs with Bethany on that night? Did she know what was about to happen? Just the same as why would Kaylee and Maddie sleep together? Were Kaylee and Maddie supposed to be in that bed together, and Dylan and Bethany supposed to be in their bed together, and the only 2 people that were supposed to get killed were Ethan and Xana that night? And then something went wrong? Bottom line is that if you're protecting a witness because of what they saw, okay? And you say that she was sleeping downstairs. Awesome. I would believe all of that until the defense subpoenaed Bethany in March of 2023. And then after that move, the prosecution had to get into panic mode and went from having a preliminary hearing to a grand jury. Is it because Bethany and what she was going to tell and what she had already told was that whatever Dylan was saying couldn't have been at the certain times because Dylan was already downstairs sleeping where she was sleeping? Is this timing wrong? Again, this sheath.
After 4 a.m. in the morning of the killings, she heard crying. She opened her bedroom door and was frozen in shock when she saw someone in black clothing and a mask who walked right past her and out the apartment's back door. The mask, she said, covered the killer's mouth and nose, but the roommate told police she could see bushy eyebrows, and police described Kohberger as fitting her description.
The police described Kohberger as fitting her description. I cannot wait to find out if it's a surgical mask or if it's a ski mask.
And welcome back, everybody. During the Idaho College student murders investigation, Moscow police contacted the makers of the knife believed to be the murder weapon.
Yes, I told you that they contacted, through a search warrant, eBay, K-Bar, Blue Ridge Knives, Walmart, Amazon. There was 5 search warrants within the first 10 days to 14 days of this investigation that were issued. K-Bar, Blue Ridge Knife, Amazon, Walmart, eBay. No Craigslist, though. Those 5 search warrants. And then I put them back in order based off when they received those. And based on my interpretation of all 5 search warrants, they were looking for people that would have bought knives from Idaho and Washington. And then on one of them, they put that there was something of a purchase in Pennsylvania.
Probable cause affidavit says that officers found the sheath to a K-Bar knife next to Maddie Mogen's body. DNA on that sheath helped police connect Bryan Kohberger to the scene. Now, the director of sales and marketing for K-Bar told TMZ that investigators contacted the company about the knives and sheaths they sell, but K-Bar did not have any records of someone named Bryan Kohberger purchasing one. Experts say the knife that would...
There you go. For everybody out there that wants to say that we have evidence of Bryan Kohberger purchasing this knife. Well, fuck mainstream media. They never talk about this type of stuff. Jesse put it out there that Bryan Kohberger's name is not associated with any search warrant of the knife.
Fit the sheath is a 7-inch utility knife.
7-inch utility knife. Now, this is going to go back to what I was saying in the beginning, which is if you're the prosecution, it is imperative that it is one weapon. One weapon. If you're the defense, it's imperative to push the narrative that it could be multiple weapons based on the wounds. Okay. So the prosecution's way of doing this is that it was one weapon, the 7-inch knife. Okay. We do not want the jury to think that it could be multiple knives, multiple weapons, okay? Because that's going to lead to the ability to then be easy to say that it was multiple perps, okay? So what I feel like is going to be argued is the defense is going to go that it was multiple weapons and it's due to the wounds that the victims suffered. And the prosecution is going to go that it was one weapon, the same weapon, and it was this weapon that matched the sheath. Now, if you're a juror, what type of weight do you give to an ME that comes out and says there was only, in a 9-hour period, all the blood that would have seeped out from these victims, that no other DNA was on this except for the button part, and it was his. And so that's number one. And that, what kind of weight do you give to that? And then if the ME is showing you wounds that are not consistent with this K-Bar 7-inch knife, all with the handle and everything, what type of weight do you give that? Okay. Would it be a problem for you if these wounds didn't match the sheath that was left and what would hold that sheath. Okay. Basically saying, is there any way possible that it could be a bigger weapon, but let's go ahead and leave this planted sheath here. Okay. And we needed, if an ME came in and said, well, there's no way in hell that that knife that would fit into that sheath made these wounds. It may make this one, this one, this one, but it is impossible for it to make this one. How does that, like, that's what I see a huge argument coming. Okay. And I believe that the defense is going to have somebody there that's going to say that these wounds are not consistent with the weapon that they are saying. Okay. So think about the Karen Reed case. Just the reason I like to use that as an example, because I just did that case, is are John's wounds consistent with being backed up into by Karen Reed's vehicle? And after I heard from the ARCA guys, absolutely not, right? No way. So is this going to be one of those situations where these wounds aren't consistent with the weapon that they are saying is the murder weapon? Then is the defense going to do something that it would never normally do, which is we're going to call Steve Gonsalves to the stand? Is Steve Gonsalves going to be a defense witness now because of what Steve Gonsalves said? Do you think that Steve Gonsalves would be somebody that you would call to the stand? I have no idea. I would love to know what he meant by what he said. I would actually love to go get the media and ask the media if they have that interview in its entirety, because they clipped stuff to make that segment. You know, they clipped what they did to make the segment that they did. Maybe you could put in better context for us what you were saying when you said that the points of damage do not match, and that you heard it from who? The coroner called you, right? Did you talk to ME? So do you think that Steve Gonsalves is going to be asked these questions? Why would Steve Gonsalves want to be coming out guns blazing like that and be like, dude, these points of damage do not match? How I took that is that it could have been a different weapon. Okay. It could have been overkill on one of the victims versus the other victim. It could have been one was a target, one wasn't, but definitely points of damage do not match. That tells me it's about a weapon. Points of damage, like the type, like the point of the damage, like when you're doing what you're doing. But I have to think to myself, why did Steve go out and tell us all that? Why did he do it? Is he going to just say, I was confused, I misinterpreted what somebody told me? Is it because Steve wanted things to be done that weren't being done? Like he wanted them to use, Steve clearly had no faith in this investigation, no faith in the people that were investigating. And maybe it's because there was just lack of communication. But why are you not communicating with the family members? Why was Steve the only parent that was speaking out? Well, their family.
Commonly used as a tool by campers or hunters. While police haven't found the knife itself, the sheath with Kohberger's DNA is on it. It's a pretty big get for the prosecution. Wouldn't you agree, Terry?
And I'm going to come back to that little clip there when they talk about when Terry answers that question, because Terry goes into a little rant all on her own about the and it's going to come up, and it's the prints. Okay, it's the prints of the footprints. And Terry gets it so wrong. But again, these were all earlier interviews, all earlier media reports. But just because they were earlier, guess what, guys? They never changed. They just continued to mount, to the point that Ann Taylor was able to file a 319-page motion, written motion on why this needs to be moved, this trial. Now, I've been in Moscow on a couple different occasions, and what I'm sharing with you guys here is some of this a video. Okay, right here, that's where Banfield, that's where that incident was. Okay, right, going to be up here is going to be Sigma Chi right there. Okay, you guys, it's way smaller than anybody could ever imagine. And it's, when I say smaller, closer together. Okay, because look at, you can tell the footsteps. You could tell how many steps it only takes to get where you're going. Look at that. Look at how close I was. I didn't zoom in. I'm like right there. And then you make this left here to come on into this little neighborhood. And right here, when you look off to the left, this little house, this little complex, whatever you want to call it, right there to the left, there's alleged to be a camera there. All right. And then when you make this right there, they said they searched that dumpster. You see that dumpster there? That's a blue one. And then right here, there's another blue one. Those are two. They said they searched 3 dumpsters. They wanted to make it known. This place right here, they have a camera, a Ring camera. I got their Ring camera. Then this house right here to the right with that porch balcony thing, that is your, where they had like a light bulb camera thingy. Now I want you guys to pay attention. I was counting the cars when I did this. When we make this left, I want you to count. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Whoops. Right here. And I'm going to end with this because this is going to go into my episode that's going to be on Sunday night. I'm going to show this to you guys again. When they would have neighborhood canvassed, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to go around and you're supposed to write down all the cars that you see, and you're supposed to write down the car make and model. Then you run the plate, and then it comes back to the owner. Okay. Then you're supposed to go to these houses, knock on the doors, and ask them if they were present last night, if they were this, if they were that. You know, do you know who lives? You know, you can ask them a bunch of questions. Right? That's what a neighborhood canvass is. But one of the most important things to do is to get every car that would have been in the area. Okay. So, and I just wanted to count how many possible cars could have ever been in the area based on the parking. So I counted all these spots so that I could know that if I ever got to see this report, based on all the people that I've talked to, it's always hard to park here because all the spots are always taken. All right. So that morning, and then I went and paid attention to the pictures that they had. All the spots are taken. And so they should have X amount of cars. Like all of these cars would have been on their canvas report. It would have had the, like I said, license plate, make and model, and then who it belonged to. Then they would have went and knocked on all these doors and talked to those people. And there should be a report from all of this. So there's 1, 2, and then right here, that's where your thud is, allegedly. And I wanted to stop it right. You see that? You guys saw that third one that was right at the top, right? Right there. See that blue one that's straight ahead? See that blue one right there? Straight ahead. Those are your 3 dumpsters. Just so you guys know, when you guys see that, and you guys heard that report about that they looked in those 3 dumpsters, those are the 3 that they're talking about. This is a very steep hill. Very steep hill. And this is where you guys will be joining me back. Go back and check it out. I did the 700 block. This is the second one. I'm doing a 10 mini series episodes of 45 minutes to an hour and 15 minutes per episode on the 10 most important pieces of evidence, important pieces of the investigation, important parts. So this was the second one that I did. And if you guys want to see this video that I put out in its entirety, it's 12 minutes and 38 seconds. Go check it out. The last 5 minutes is this video. And right there. I'm going to wait till it turns left. Right here. Watch where I go. You see that door right there? See those steps? We pulled right off here to the side so I could show you guys how close these steps were. And this is where a dog lives. Right here. The first door to your right. And immediately when you walk up these steps, a dog starts barking. I wanted to do a test with it. It was on the money. In this video right here, Lana is live at moment. It has the sound. Right here, first door, there's a dog and it will bark. And so why I think this is important is because of them talking about it in the PCA. And it would be that somebody would have to pass this when they're walking to make that dog bark. And that would not be consistent with somebody walking when they would have left out the back slider and walked to the back portion. You would have never walked past this. Okay. And that would lead to the perpetrator actually leaving a different way and going a different way. Because you'd have to then walk, and you're going to see when I turn this. So see how close you are. I mean, it is so close. So close. You're on top of each other. Close. And those steps right there, they would register if you have your phone with you and you would have left up out of the house. So let's say that Bethany or Dylan or even any of the victims had any type of stair activity, like flights of stairs. You cannot just associate them with that it would be from walking in that house and going up a flight of stairs in that house. You have to give a little bit of weight to the fact that it could be that you're going up these stairs. Okay. And why I think that that's important is because if stuff isn't making sense, maybe this will help make some of the stuff that isn't making sense when you're looking at the data. So you're literally right there. There are dogs right there. As soon as you walk up that and dog's gonna start barking. I did it as a test. There's a little cat there too. Then you walk this path, and then that's gonna take you back to where you're gonna be able to see the Linda Lane area, and it's all so close. So join me back here. I thank you guys. I'm going to be live with the Karen Reed motion to dismiss counts 1 and 3. Please check out this live motion with Karen Reed. It has to do with our rights. It has to do with jurors. It has to do with the justice system today. It has to do with how could this possibly happen in 2024. How do the jurors, how did it even get to the point that it got? But look at how many steps did I take? I counted my steps. Right there, that's your Linda Lane to the right. That's where the camera is. This is this tight area. It's super slick. All right. I agree. The sheath brings more questions than answers, especially when you then put the car right behind it. That car should have been lit up. We'll see you guys back here. Car should have been lit up with evidence, and it's not. Again, thumbs it up, share it. See you guys soon.